All right, everyone. I think we've got a quorum here, so we'll go ahead and get started. So first of all, good afternoon, y'all. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your week, and want to be respectful of that time. So obviously, let's get the show on the road. So today's topic of discussion really revolves around critically crafted voice solutions. And for those of you who weren't aware, Teo has actually joined forces with West Telecom. And as I'm sure that you'll gather from the conversation today, both groups share a very similar philosophy of communications. And that's simply that it is the most vital aspect a organization can bring. So as I'm sure that you'll notice, our combination of Teo's deployment methods mixed with West Telecom's carrier expertise allows us to tailor mission-critical solutions. So before we dive into the agenda, let's just go ahead and do a quick round of introductions from our panelists. My name is Keaton Forrest. I'm our channel executive in the West. Many of you have probably worked with my counterpart in the past, Chance Leister in the East. Together, we provide subject matter expertise on our solutions, as well as arm you with any kind of pertinent information regarding sales or marketing info that you need to be successful out there in the field. So with that, I'll turn it over to Garrett.
Hi, everyone. I'm Garrett Allen. I'm Director of Product here with Teo and West Telecom, focused on the UC and making sure that we're building on a platform that's the right fit for our customers and for our partners. I'm sure a lot of you, especially who've been working with Teo for a long time, might almost be sick of hearing my voice, but I'm very glad to see all of you on here and looking forward to what we have coming up next.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Glad to have the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm Eric Svensson, Vice President of Carrier Engineering. During this later in the slideshow, I'll go over a little bit of West Telecom services and really look forward to the opportunity in the future to chat with you about how we can enhance our service offerings.
About our unified communications platform, where we are and where we're going. Second, we will swing it around to Eric to touch on our expanded carrier-grade network and switching capabilities. And then we'll tie these two topics in together and show our partners how our joint forces are now creating peace of mind for organizations who just simply can't afford downtime with their communications solutions. Then, finally, as I'm sure that you guys all signed up for, we will also be doing a Q&A and raffle at the end of this, announcing a couple of our partners that we love to highlight. So with that, I will turn it over to Garrett and let him talk about our TOUC platform.
Released UC version 5.5. Earlier this year, we released UC version 5.5. The number one feature that we brought along with that was support for a full HTML5 user portal. We now have that rolled out and available for a significant percentage of our user base, but we continue to drive that forward. We're going to do a little more discussion and a bit of an overview of that today so you get an understanding of where we already have in the field and what's coming up, especially for deployments that you're already supporting. We also have our HTML5 administration capabilities in beta now as we start to build that through. So I'd like to give the opportunity to give everyone an overview of that and how we're building out and growing the platform. But there's a couple other things that are really important that come in on UC version 5.5. We've done a lot of work behind the scenes to really lock down and enhance the security profile of the UC out of the box. We've always been able to make the UC be a secure platform, especially with regards to compliance audits and scans, most notably things like PCI and HIPAA. And we've gone ahead and we've built in a lot more of those capabilities into the UC itself rather than it being a customization that's applied later. So out of the box, we have a better security posture, and we pair that with significant backend improvements and updates so that we can provide a stronger foundation for everything we're building next. We think it's going to make a noticeable difference across the board as we roll this out, and we're really excited to get this into more of your customers' hands. And one thing as we continue to drive forward here, we have adapted a rapid release cadence as to add in more capabilities and take advantage of these new tools that we've offered in. So you're going to see more frequent updates as opposed to the quarterly or bi-yearly that was our normal cadence previously, so that we can get newer features and capabilities out to your customers and out to your sales prospects sooner rather than waiting for a roll-up release. We'll still, as always, handle updates on your schedule and have you fully in control of when your customers are receiving these updates, but they will be available sooner and more frequently. With that, I'd like to start by going ahead and taking a walkthrough of our user portal for those of you who haven't seen it yet. A couple things to note as we're running through here is while I'll be sharing a desktop version of this view, one of the key deliverables we focused on was making sure that everything we're doing is fully mobile and ready and responsive. So while we'll be looking at this from a full web browser, it'll be just as accessible and just as capable from any modern device that can run a modern browser. So this is going to include, of course, your smartphones, your tablets, pretty much anything that can upload a PDF to our server now, for example, can fax. We don't have to pull out the laptop or anything like that to get it going. Everything is built out and ready to go. With that being said, I'll go ahead and switch over our screen sharing, and we'll dive in. So I'm logging into one of our demo servers. In this particular case, we're running version 5.5.5. As I said, we're doing a rapid release cycle as we run through here. And I'd like you to run through what the new user portal looks like. For those of you on the call who haven't worked with our older user portal, this may not seem like such a dramatic departure, but for those of you who've worked with and used our legacy user portal over the year, you'll see an immediate difference. And the key thing we're looking for is we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of modern capabilities to provide features and functionality faster in a way that's easier to find. Everything we've built here is going to be equivalent to what is in the existing user portal, so that there's minimal training required to pick up. In fact, for most deployments up till date, as we've rolled this out, we haven't had to provide any additional end user training. The concepts are all there, just in a way that's significantly easier to use and takes advantage of, like I said, new advanced capabilities. And that starts with our call activity screen. So with our new call activity screen, we have a full infinite scrolling capability, so no more paged views, no more having to run through and find additional information. It's all there, all easy to find. We pair that with a fast, quick search that gets you the callers you're looking for quickly, more intuitive filters that aren't as fiddly or hard to control, and more informative actions on any individual call. So for example, we'll take a look at a call that I sent, or a fact that I sent last week. We can get that access available to all of our users. They can see the full status, they can see transmission, and they can even get a copy of what was actually sent, built through there. So again, we're making sure that we're taking the same information, same capabilities that are built into the powerful core of the UC and presenting them in a way that are much easier to use, easier to find. That extends as well to how we approach our scheduling, how we approach our call routing, where it's much more informative, much more visual, easier to read, easier to understand across the board. Of course, we can still do our normal management and expect that users have come to expect from the user portal, including presence, including notifications where they can manage updates and alerts when they receive a voicemail, call recording, or a fax. So in most cases, users never even have to come to this screen. Voicemail management, conference management, storage management, and allocation are all managed through here, just as we handled on the old system, but in a way that's significantly easier to use and gives us an even better baseline to grow for the future. And the user portal is a great place, a great starting place as we build out here. And we've focused on that as our initial HTML5 release because it impacts the most users. But that just barely touches on what we've been doing so far. We've been doing significant work on our UC administration portal, and I'd like to give a preview of this now. Again, just like with the UC, everything we've done up to this point has been based around using the same concepts so that we're not requiring a major retraining to understand this. But we wanted to build it out in a way that gives us room for growth, gives us room to deliver updates modularly rather than having to have them all in as one monolithic update, and gives a lot of better organization as we run through. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive in to another demo system with the full admin here. So I'm logged in here, and on this particular system, I'm both a user as well as a full super administrator. So on the previous systems, when you logged in and you actually started working with the UC, the very first thing you had to decide is, what sort of functionality are you looking at today? Am I going into my user portal? Am I going into being admin? Am I going to be a ACD supervisor? And the only way to switch back out of that was to actually refresh your session and log back in. One of the things that's really important on the UC is making sure you can find your functionalities and your configurations quickly. And to that end, we've built out a new navigation, a new approach to make this easier to find what you're looking for. No more of going into the digit map, having to click through, find what you're looking on, and modify it from there. Instead, now we can go ahead and handle everything as a category. So do we want to work on our inbound call routing, our outbound call routing with things like access codes, our destinations with layout for auto attendance, for hunt groups, for ACD. We've built that out so it's a much clearer experience, easier to get into. And in our initial usage and testing, we found that it's significantly faster to get in and make changes as you're building up new elements. We've also gone ahead and taken that same approach to what we're doing on the on the configuration themselves, similar to what we did on the user side, with a complete rethinking of how we expose and present out our capabilities around things such as auto attendance. Again, aiming to be much easier to use, much easier to understand your state as it's built through. We've also gone ahead and merged and gotten rid of the scheduler element as a separate functionality and actually merged that in with the appropriate tabs that the schedule controls. Again, making it easier to understand everything that's going through, easier to use without having to relearn the core concepts of what the UC does. Really excited to get this in your hands and as we run through it. All right. So again, we've had 5.5 is available now. This is available to every single UC customer with an active agreement. They can be cloud, they can be cloud plus, they can be on premises. One of our major deliverables as we built this out is to make sure that any UC customer who's been running for a UC, whether they've been running it for a day or they've been running it for 10 years, has access to these capabilities as we continue to advance this. So any version, any generation of our UC Pro servers, our original Shoebox mini servers, our newer 1U mini servers, and of course our Cloud and Cloud Plus deployments all have access and all are validated against this. We really want to make sure we keep that promise of value and keep that promise of support as we go through. To that end, we really are encouraging everyone to reach out to our support team and our help desk so we can start scheduling these updates and get this capability out to your users. We think it's going to make a huge impact on their day-to-day, get them more excited and happier with the system, and we can't wait to get that out for everyone. With that being said and kind of covering where the UC is going next, I want to turn it over to Eric now to talk more about the rest of what we can do now that we are together with West Telecom.
Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate that and great overview and demo. I think it's really, really looking forward to the updates. So with this recent combination of the two companies, I think there's a lot we can offer and provide to you and our end customers. And it's exciting to see that we can offer an end-to-end solution that, you have one company to reach out to work with on. We've been with the Teo product, we've been using on-prem, cloud, and then hybrid, which offers a lot of different options and reliability. And now what we're going to be doing is we can offer voice solutions to go along with that product. So from a traditional voice perspective, West Telecom has been in the voice industry for a lot of years. And, we've been servicing customers in New York State. Now we're expanding that reach to go nationally and, pair with other offerings like our UC offering with the Teo system. We can provide SIP trunks, PRI, T1, and even analog POT services if you have emergency lines, fax machines, or any of those needs. And the trunks can be delivered to multiple locations or shared. We have redundancy options. Our network is built that there's diverse access into and out of the network, the voice network. And we can even set up, if you want redundancy, we can set up SIP trunks or any of the trunks in a redundant fashion going to, our A or B switch. And again, all pairs well. If we've got the whole UC solution and voice services, we can really see everything that's going on. But we can also deliver it, just separately if there's another system you need help connecting with. So what we're really excited about is we've kind of taken a couple of our technologies and merged them together to offer what I think is an exciting service that we have now that we're calling Voice Plus. All the same services that we just talked about, we can deliver over an SD-WAN platform, which adds that extra layer of redundancy. And I mentioned we have redundant switching and network gateways that we can connect through. And with this SD-WAN technology on premise, if you have your UC system, we can have a link that is maybe going through a broadband connection. It could be fiber, any type of service, and have a redundant solution, and you can connect up to our network in a redundant fashion to make sure that voice is always on. And the circuits don't have to be the same provider. In fact, it's better if they're a mix, and we can even offer LTE, which has been tested and works great. So I did want to touch on the SD-WAN. It's a little bit outside of the voice, but it does play well. So if you have multiple locations, you could be a regional outfit or maybe span multiple states. Depending on your requirements, you might have a lot of activity that's happening inter-office, and that can include calling, as well as it could include applications that you're using. You might host your own applications, or you might use cloud services. With our managed SD-WAN offering, we can connect all those locations together and get good insight into what's happening and prioritize traffic to what's important. Voice and other real-time traffic versus maybe file shares. And again, the ability to mix and match internet connections with maybe MPLS connections as well, depending on the need. And you can do fiber, broadband, and even cellular. So the two options that we really have are like an SD-WAN and an SD-WAN Lite. Depending on the need, we can work with you and your customers to understand what the needs are. This is something we like to put forth as a solution that we work on together and get the right need for the right case. We've used it in terms of connecting branches. So you might have, again, a regional office where you want to connect multiple locations and make sure that your quality for voice and other important business applications are always there. If one link goes down, your business can continue and work over that backup link. And the difference between SD-WAN and traditional technologies that had multiple passes, that you can actually prioritize traffic or say, hey, I want my voice to go over the lowest latent path, and then maybe the file shares to happen over the connection with the highest bandwidth. And this is the technology that supports voice. Other use cases that we've looked at is that as folks move to that cloud generation where we've got services that are cloud offered, you might have services on site. A good example is if you have a system in the cloud, whether it's Office 365 or anything like that, you want to make sure that you're always getting that. Point of sale is a big deal to have access to. So if you're leveraging the cloud heavy, we can put in an SD-WAN appliance and add multiple connections. So we have that layer 1 and internet reliability and redundancy, and make sure that you always have access to those. And then maybe we deprioritize some traffic that is nice to have, but in an outage situation, you want to make sure that your business transactions are happening. Let's see. Garrett, if you can, there you go. Thank you. So one of the nice offerings we have is this mission critical application that I'm going to talk a little bit about. It's a way that we interact with our customers and our partners, and the back-end system is called Oscar, and Oscar actually talks to a lot of different systems. Oasis is kind of the smart engine that pulls it all together, so we can pull metrics from different systems and pull them into our Oscar system to put into dashboards and give information to customers. And the Mission Critical app is really a great way to interact with us as a company. You could submit incidents if you want to work on a support item, or if you need help to configure something, you can put in a ticket, as well as if there's anything going on in the network, we can present that to you. If we have any maintenance is happening, we're upgrading key systems, we'll let you know. And it's, as a partner, if you have other customers, end user customers that you're working with, your dashboard would actually show up with your account as well as your customer's information. So either they can open an account or incident directly, or you can do it on their behalf depending on the arrangement. And then this mission critical application, you can install it on your phone. It could be, found in the Android or iPhone app repositories. And, depending on how you choose to interact with us, you could get push notifications, SMS, and even email. And it's a great way, again, to stay connected and have full insight into what's going on. So I think I'm going to hand it back to Keaton to kind of go over and wrap things up. And any questions that anybody has, we're going to stick around after for a Q&A session.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric, and really great overview of the carrier grade capabilities. So as I'm sure that many of our attendees can see today, there's a lot of different ways that we can go about addressing issues that customers are starting to face with moving their communications to something kind of more modern. We're past the move from copper lines into voice over IP. The unified communications that people are deploying today needs to be available from any device at any time and anywhere. And that goes just beyond the unified communication solution that we're now offering. It actually goes behind the network that powers that as well. So I hope that from Eric's overview that you can see that by plugging the TO unified communication solution anywhere, whether that be premises, hybrid, or cloud, we now have the capabilities and the backbone to be able to deliver that service with the SLAs that your customers need. So, what does it mean when you combine a company that has 3 different offerings of unified communications deployments with a carrier grade network? Well, I've said this before, and I'll say this again. We don't believe that any of our partners should be able to walk away from any solution without at least putting together a coherent design and a nice proposal for them. So with that, I think that we'll go ahead and dive into. I kind of touched on this. I guess we can kind of go ahead and dive into Q&A here. What do you think, Dee? Oh, that's right.
You're forgetting a critical part.
I would be remiss to forget this. You're right, Garrett. This is why everyone comes, actually. So drew some names out of a hat. And again, want to thank all of our partners and the ones who are looking at joining Teo and West Telecom in our efforts. So Jesse Myers, congratulations on a Craft Shack gift card. Kyle Tagg as well. Paul Griswold for your local business of choice, $50 gift card, as well as Charles Doherty. Dee will actually be in touch with Paul and Charles to get those gift cards lined up. But Jesse and Kyle, I hope that you're excited for some nice craft beers coming your way. So if there's no questions from the panelists, I know that a question that I guarantee a lot of you come up against into the field that I'm going to pose to Garrett and see how he crafts his way around this is, Garrett, what about Teams? Isn't Teams out there now? Why would we need a UC solution anymore?
Keaton, thank you for setting me up. I appreciate it. Maybe next time you could even give me a warning before that hits. But I always like to think on my feet, so we'll take this live. No, Teams is a great tool for what it does, and I don't want to denigrate or disparage any of those tools that help people get their jobs done, especially as we're going through such a disruptive year. Teams, Slack, all of those collaboration tools are playing a larger part of a lot of people's day-to-day. And there's a few things that are worth mentioning there. The first is that it's collaboration focused. The number one thing you're going to use with Teams or the equivalent in the market is going to be to work internally with your organization. That's a very necessary, very key portion of it. They have a lot of great hooks to tie into it. One of the things that we believe the UC is really key on is really providing more options and more capabilities to tie or to close the gap between your organization or your customer's organization and the rest of the world. So much of that's still coming in through the PSTN, and while you can do some things with Teams direct routing, there is going to be a lot of places where that can require additional equipment or additional overhead, or is just harder to manage than something we can offer today. So for those organizations that need to make sure they're providing a best-in-class service for people who are calling in and have a lot of those requirements as they run through, Teams is great. Teams has its place, but we think that the UC and everything that we offer on the TO side really shines in those worlds. Teams is so great for a matter of fact in terms of what it offers for that collaboration aspect, that if you have an opportunity where Teams and Microsoft 365 is something that you need to be offering to your customer, we can even help quote out Office 365 for you. West Telecom is a full Microsoft partner there, and we have the capabilities to help you deliver that. We'll have some more exciting things to mention as we're coming through on Teams that we're not quite ready to present publicly yet, but there's even more coming. But stay tuned. We'll have some news soon. But Keaton, I hope that hits what you're looking for, and you can buy me a beer for the setup.
Well, that sounds like something that we've absolutely chatted about over beers before. So I will certainly take you up on that again.
All right, and then Verdi, I see your question as well about integrating a soft phone. We don't have anything to announce today about that, but what I will say is that we are specifically selecting the technology and frameworks that we're using and making decisions around how we are building out our new user portal and admin portal to allow us to have flexibility about what we integrate and how we integrate. So nothing I can announce today or discuss today, but we are definitely aware and thinking in those directions.
Thanks, Garrett. Then Eric, I guess I'll get you involved in this conversation too. I see that you've gotten comfortable. So, talk a little bit more about SD-WAN. Is this something that, the customer has to go out and find their own bandwidth, or are we relying on the partner to do this? Or, why does West Telecom come in and make their SD-WAN solution so much better than what we see in the market?
Thanks, Keaton. Appreciate the question. Yeah, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to be that one provider to help solve the need, and that's why I kind of termed it as a managed SD-WAN solution. There's a lot of work that goes into looking at different providers, looking for redundancy, what are the options, as well as getting pricing. We have partnerships throughout the U.S. that we can go and we can help evaluate providers and get the right connectivity there and make sure there's solid redundancy. The other thing is that, as a service provider, we can help with the support of that It gets a little bit difficult if you have multiple providers and, there's discussion over who's managing which piece. We take care of that by doing it all under a managed service, which, makes it easier for the end user, and you can go about and focus on the business, and we can help take care of the WAN. And making sure that the key thing with the SD-WAN is that we want to key into what's the application experience, and everybody equates when they say there's some bad experience getting to a thing. It's, well, there's bad Wi-Fi or there's bad network connectivity. So we put some eyes on the application experience and make sure that we route it appropriately to give the customer the best quality. And if there is a problem with the provider, we'll work on the end user's behalf to get it resolved. And that goes into, the mission critical app in Oscar that, we're able to monitor the different systems and circuits and provide that, uptime that everybody expects. And as things come in as alerts, we'll take care of them without being called first.
Great, thanks, Eric. Yeah, I mean, gosh, the cloud is just not going away anytime soon, and if anything, more back office operations are starting to move into that style of compute. So, to give your customers the opportunity to cut down on that latency and make sure that those applications that they're paying for are running more effectively, I think it pays for itself if you were to write up an ROI.
Yeah, and I think and just to add on to that, just West Telecom and Teo combined, we are an extension of our partners in terms of delivering services. So, in terms of partnering and supporting, the delivery and the needs of the customers, that's what we're here for.
And even beyond the delivery of it, if any of our partners need that extra help, just through the discovery and design phase, please get us involved. We are huge advocates of the side-by-side sale.
Yeah, and I think that where we're adding is professional services in terms of going in and doing discovery and really getting to know what the customer network's like and what's there, so we know how to build upon it and improve it.
Awesome. Those professional services are key. There's no yes without how. Verdi with another SD-WAN question. Eric, are you able to pick this one up?
Yeah. Let's see. SD-WAN makes sense as a tool to create redundancy between geographically dispersed offices. This makes sense for a self-hosted model where you can install entirely in the customer-owned space. Yeah, so I'll try to attack this one. So in terms of the managed SD-WAN, it does work. I think there's a couple of use cases. The same technology can be geared towards a managed WAN offering, but really what it's doing is it's tracking applications and where they're going. And by having multiple network connections, you can do, put a probe out there and see what the latency is like to a cloud service offering and maybe monitor that over multiple links. And, the biggest thing is you can have a failure and that link goes down, but, that's an obvious impact. But you can also have situations where, latency goes up and then your application experience goes down. So by kind of monitoring that, you can make the best decision on how to go out to the internet and back. I hope that answers that question.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, similar with what we're seeing out there in the unified communications world with SD-WAN, there's millions of different offerings out there. It really is about how that company is actually delivering and supporting that to their customer. There was a lot of iterations of SD-WAN early on where companies rather were saying that they were doing a lot of the IPsec tunneling and VPNs, but they simply were we're just kind of leaving those things unchecked. Where now it's kind of evolved, and as Eric mentioned, we've actually put ourselves in a position to manage that very effectively now.
All right, I'd like to end this by just saying thank you for everyone again for your time. We really do appreciate it. We know how valuable everyone's time is right now. The whole team is here to assist, as Eric said, as Keaton said, as Dee has said, to make sure that you have everything you need for success as we go forward here. We know that we work best by working together. Expect to have more updates, more exciting news as we move forward, but what we can offer with the paired Teo and West Telecom, it really changes the game, especially speaking from the Teo side, and we're really excited to see where that goes next. I think we can give everyone 15 minutes back in their day, and hope that you've got a happy Thanksgiving next week. And Verde, I hope you have a good week, even though you're going to be sick of Americans talking about Thanksgiving.